Have you ever wondered how you're supposed to maintain a real sense of purpose and conviction, especially when the world feels like it's constantly shifting under your feet? Well, today we're going to dive into a devotional text that lays out a pretty powerful framework for doing exactly that, for serving steadfastly, unmovably, and with joy. All right, let's get into it.
We're going to tackle this in 6 parts. First, we'll look at the core command, the main idea. Then we'll explore why the text says this is so urgent for us right now. After that, we'll see what tools it offers to help us navigate, and we'll examine what it calls the ultimate test of our commitment. Then we'll see how all of that gets translated into a daily journey, and we'll wrap it all up by looking at the prayer that kind of ties it all together.
So, first things first, let's dig into that foundational command. The entire logic of this text, everything it's trying to say, is really built on one central, really powerful instruction.
And this is it. This verse from 1 Corinthians is the launch pad for everything else we're going to talk about. Those 2 words are key, steadfast and unmovable. So the message isn't just, do the work. It's about doing it with this kind of solid, resolute permanence. And it's all based on this deep down conviction that the effort actually matters, that it's not in vain. This is the core principle we're going to see over and over. But why? Why this intense focus on being unmovable? The text doesn't just present this as some general, timeless advice. It makes a case that there's a specific reason this is so critical right now. Let's see why it frames this with such, urgency. The author really creates this powerful sense of immediacy. The idea is that we're not just in any old time period, we're in a specific moment that demands this level of steadfastness. It frames the entire journey not as some casual game, but as something really serious, with very real present-day stakes.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because the source defines the problem so clearly. It points to 2 major warnings from Scripture. First, this idea of a falling away, which suggests a decline in belief or commitment. And second, this chilling phrase about the love of many waxing cold, because iniquity is everywhere. So these 2 challenges, they create this urgent backdrop for why being unmovable is presented as absolutely essential.
Okay, so if the world is challenging and things are getting difficult, how are you supposed to navigate it all? Well, the devotional offers a primary tool, a kind of non-negotiable guide for the journey. The text points to the Word as the solution, and I love this metaphor it uses, describing it as a lamp for your feet. Just picture that. It's not a giant floodlight showing you the whole journey at once. It's a lamp that shows you exactly where to put your next step, how to stay on the path when everything around you is dark and unclear. It's an active guide. So, the big question is, how do you use this lamp? The text boils it down into a really clear 3-step process. First, you have to stay focused on it. Simple enough? Second, don't turn away from it, not to the right, not to the left. But third, and this one is huge, you have to let it have dominion over your thoughts and opinions. It's about total guidance, not just checking in with it every once in a while. All right, so having a compass is one thing, but the source argues that there also has to be some kind of outward sign, a visible characteristic that proves you're actually on the path and following the guide. Right here, the text draws a really clear line in the sand. It's basically saying it's not enough to just say you believe, there has to be a tangible, visible difference in how you live. This sets up a standard, a way to measure authentic commitment versus just going through the motions. So, what is that standard? And there's the answer. The ultimate identifier, the thing that makes it obvious to everyone, is love for one another. This is presented as the definitive, unmistakable sign. It's not about secret knowledge or some grand, flashy gesture. It's about a visible, relational quality that everyone can see.
Okay, so we've got the command to be steadfast. We have the compass of the Word. We have the test of love. But how does all of this actually work in real life, day to day? Well, the text synthesizes all these big ideas into a practical, daily framework. And this is where the abstract gets really concrete. The devotional says every single day is a new opportunity for these 5 actions. And notice how they connect everything we've just talked about, right? Walk in love links right back to the test. Walk in the light links to the compass. And joyfully serving and bearing fruit, well, those are the results of being steadfast. It's basically a complete system for your daily life. Finally, let's look at how the devotional wraps up. It doesn't just end with a list of instructions. It actually gives you a prayer that serves a very specific function within this whole framework.
So you see, the prayer isn't just a nice way to say goodbye. It's designed to be a tool for personal reinforcement.
It's like a script you can use to affirm and internalize every single principle we've walked through, turning the teaching into your own personal declaration.
Just look at this first line. It's a direct echo of that opening verse we started with from 1 Corinthians. The prayer kicks off by having the reader personally claim that foundational command to be steadfast and unmovable. It brings the entire argument full circle.
And then, this next part, it just brilliantly weaves in those internal motivations. It affirms the test of love that we talked about, but it also puts a huge emphasis on the way you serve, with a joyful heart. This connects the action of serving with the inner state of passion and purpose.
The prayer concludes by tying your personal commitment back to the bigger picture. It connects to that sense of urgency from the beginning. Remember, these last days? And it frames the outcome of all this as a visible manifestation of righteousness. Your steadfastness isn't just for you. It's meant to shine for everyone to see.
So this text gives us a really detailed how-to for remaining unmovable, using guidance, love, and daily practice. But it seems like it all hinges on one simple yet incredibly profound emotional state that's mentioned throughout: joy. So the question this leaves us with is this: beyond all the mechanics of being steadfast, what does it truly mean to serve with joy? And how does that joy become the very fuel for an unmovable life?